Alright, in this video I'm going to try to help explain the Module 14 Java programming activity DiceRolls, because the directions you have here are pretty vague, and this is actually my activity. So what I'm going to do is walk through how to do this in this video. This should help significantly with making this. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a program that uses a random number generator, which honestly, I'm not sure if we talked about that anywhere, but if we didn't, this is a good opportunity to do so. So I'm going to show you how to use a random number generator to generate a random integer between 1 and 6 to kind of virtually create a die roll. So we're trying to pretend we have two dice, and I'm not a literary scholar. So we're going to generate what it would look like if we roll each die and we get a number between 1 and 6, and we add up that total and display the total. So we need to randomly generate a number between 1 and 6 for each die. So what I've done is I've created a Java program called DiceRolls, and notice that I am importing this thing called random. So you have to have this import statement where you import from java.util.random, and that's basically saying, hey Java, go into your Java folder, open up a folder called util, and in there open up and give me access to all the stuff in the folder called random. And inside main, just like before, here's where main and here's where class ends, I'm going to create a random object. So this is kind of like scanner in the sense that I need to use this tool that's not by default in a Java program. And so far what I've done is I'm creating a integer called die1, which is going to randomly create an integer, and I set 10 here. So what this would do, just to explain, I'm going to change this, but just to explain what this does. When I generate a random number here, this will generate a random number between 0 and 1 less than this number. So this will give me a random number between 0 and 9. So every time I run this, go ahead and run this, and you'll see, like this time I got a 5. If I run it again, I get a 9, and then a 9, and a 6. And every time I run it, I should get something between 0 and 9. And it should include 0. I'm trying to get 0, but I don't want to be here all day. There's 0. So it should give me a number between 0 and 9. Well, that's not what I want. A dice roll would be, if it's a 6-sided die, it would be between 1 and 6. Okay, well you might think, okay, well I'll put a 6 here. But what's this going to give me? This is going to give me from 0 to 1 less than this number. It's going to give me 0 to 5. Well, that's not what I want. I know, I'll put 7. Well, now I get 0 to 6. So I get 1 to 6, but I also can be 0. And you can't have a 7-sided die. Well, you could. I guess you could. But we don't have that. We have 6-sided die. And besides, we don't really want a number of 0. So what I need is something that gives me 6 options, which this does. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 options. But I want those options to be not 0 to 5, but 1 to 6. So what's my lowest possibility here? My lowest possibility here is 0. What's the highest possibility? 5. So I want 1 more than the lowest possibility and 1 more than the highest possibility. So what can I do? I can take whatever this thing gives me, which is any number between 0 and 5, any integer, and I can add 1 to it. Now I get 1 to 6. So I want each die to be a random number between 1 and 6. So if I go to display these, I'm going to go ahead and build some empty output here, and I can see what I'm going to get is this will now give me 2 numbers. Let me clear this out. I can get 2 numbers between 1 and 6. So then what I have to do is I need to add up the total. Well, how can I display the total between these? Well, there's a couple ways I could do this. I could say, well, I want to display the total. Do an empty space here for now. And I want to display die1 plus die2. This is one way this will do this. Now I got to be careful here because, as we know, with output, in this case, I think it'll give me what I want. Nope, it has an error because I put a comma. So 3 plus 5 is 35. No, it's not. That's because I have to make sure I force it to do a sum. So I can put this, I can encapsulate that inside parentheses. Now it'll give me the total, which is great, but I might want this to look a little prettier, because if you look back at the assignment, what we're trying to do is make it look nice like this. So, and I want 5 roles, right? It says, well, it doesn't tell me, but I have 1, 2, 3, I want 5 roles. So I want to do this, I want to get a random number 5 times. So I could do this whole thing. So here's 1, and then I could do it again, but I got to be careful. I don't want to recreate memory space, so I can just say die1 and die2 are reassigned. And that will do it again. That's the second time. And then here's the third time. Well, anytime you see yourself doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's a golden opportunity for a loop. And what we need here is we need to actually do this inside a loop that will run 5 times. So we already know that a for loop is really designed to run 5 for a number. It's set up nicely if you want something that's going to do something a predetermined number of times. So I know I want to run 5 times. So I can say I want to set up my for loop to do this 5 times. Go ahead and indent, make that look nicer. So this will give me 5 times it will generate a random number and display the total. So I don't really need this first try. And I also don't really need this, because all I need to do is just declare the memory space. I can say, hey Java, set aside memory space for die1, set aside memory space for die2, then generate random number, display it, generate random numbers, display it, generate random numbers, display it. I can do that 5 times. So this will do that, which is kind of nice, because I'm getting closer. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I can do that, and I can see here's my 5 die rolls. So this is die1, die2, and a total. But I can't, like you and I know what this is, because we just made this, but the user doesn't know. So now I need to make this prettier so the user can see what the heck this is. So what would be really, really nice is if I do an output before I actually get into the loop. And I can say dice1, and I'm going to go ahead and do a tab. I don't need that. And then dice2, and this is a tab return, this is an escape sequence, and then the total. And I may have to play around with aligning this, but I'm adding those same escape sequences down inside my loop. Let's see how this looks. Uh-oh, I messed something up somewhere. What did I do? Let's clear that out and run that again. Alright, so we have dice1, dice2, and total. But you can see this is not aligned at all. So what I'm going to do is add a couple more tab returns in here. You can mathematically count this up, because a tab return is actually 8 characters. And really all I'm trying to do is make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so I'm getting closer, but still not quite there. Looks like I might need to do this a couple times. But I could go back and actually, okay, this is a little closer, and this is probably good enough for me. So I'm trying to make this look a little prettier. I'm going to add one little space there for that. just to make it look somewhat presentable. So I can see dice 1, dice 2, dice total. Now the total we could do, and there's nothing wrong with this, what you can do if you want is, I'm fine either way, you could create another variable called int total, and then down inside your loop, once you know the values for die 1 and die 2, you can add them together and create the sum, and then you can just display total here. Either way, it really does the same thing. I don't really see a difference there, and that's fine. So this should really help you walk through how to do your project with your die rolls. I'll just clean it up there a little bit. All I really don't have in here is the comments, which you'll have to add, and this is my variable creation. This is just an output and processing. That's all this is. Probably would be nice to make sure you know where you end your for loop. And I've got a lot of extra white space in here I can get rid of. So that's it right there. That's the project. So good luck on this, and any questions, send me an email.